What's going on, Ambitious Vet? Welcome to the Ambitious Vet Show. I'm your host, Chris Hoffman. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, award-winning entrepreneur who realized that immediate transition to education expires when you desire more than just your basic needs being met. What do I mean by that? I mean by career readiness, writing a resume, interview prep, job fairs, all that shit that gets thrown down our throat in the immediate transitional space. That gets us to the first step, first hurdle. But there's about 2 to 3, maybe even more, depending on what your goals and your ambitions are post-military, that we must learn how to overcome to reach our full potential. So this show is designed to dive into the trenches with today's top subject matter experts, share inspiring transition stories, and provide masterclasses to equip you with the realistic perspective on what it takes to win in the everyday trenches of life post-military. If you haven't already, grab a pen and paper. If you're driving, turn up your ears, man. What did your drill instructor say in boot camp? Ears open, sir. Open your ears. Clean out your ears. Make sure you listen, because I promise you this episode's going to help you get out of your own way and actually build better support systems. So I hope you enjoyed the rest of the show. Are you one of the last minute Christmas shoppers that are still looking to buy a gift, and maybe just a patriotic gift or a gag gift maybe? Or maybe you're just interested in just helping support the American dream. Regardless of the case, we just launched our Ambitious Vet Network 2022 Holiday Gift Guide, where these companies are either veteran-owned or 100% American-made, or donate a good sizable portion of their profits to military organizations, anywhere from badass grill seasonings to fuel for warriors. Would love for you to just take a minute to review the gift guide and help support that American dream, help boost the American economy, and help support veteran-owned companies. Go visit ambitiousvetnetwork.com/gift guide 2022. Again, that's ambitiousvetnetwork.com/gift guide 2022. Also have the link in the show notes below. Guys, let's make sure that we're supporting each other. Veterans helping veterans, promote each other, and also boosting the American economy. Hope to see you posting and tagging me and the company and your holiday gift or your New Year's gift. And I hope you enjoy the gift guide.
It's time to get into the trenches, dig into your purpose, and fire up your life's fulfillment. The Ambitious Vet Podcast starts now.
Hey, what's going on, Ambitious Vet? We're right back inside the trenches this week with Chris Roness. Chris the Switch Roness is a retired colonel after serving 27 years in the United States Air Force, and is founder and CEO of Chris Roness Enterprises, LLC. He most recently served as the Director of Strategic Requirements, Programs, and Resources at the United States Special Operations Command, Pacific. Chris has served at the commander and joint staff levels with distinguished service, experience, and leadership in Special Forces intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, nuclear operations, nuclear security, combat search and rescue, and defense support to civil authorities. As a strategist, he has conducted leading-edge research and advised key U.S. leaders on emerging trends in strategy, policy, and programming. Switch is a decorated United States Air Force pilot who has flown in worldwide combat operations. His acumen includes helicopter and fixed-wing aviation, DoD acquisition, and programming, human performance, mindfulness, economic technology, and finance. He has earned 2 master's degrees and has dedicated his life to serving our veterans through his premier human performance and mindfulness system called You Matter. Chris, man, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I really appreciate the invite to be here, man, and just the opportunity to hopefully impart some lessons learned and some knowledge to some of our vets and anybody that's listening to just help them get ahead of struggles and live an awesome life, man.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how a 27-year retired colonel can go and get 2 master's degrees, man, and just the level of performance that you've been able to accomplish over the past 30 years is very impressive. And I think it inspires just, one, me, but also the listener on this show. And Ambitious Vet, just so you know how me and Chris met, is we did not meet at the Military Infantry Conference, but he was making such a difference in Vegas that someone actually walked up and gave me his card, You Matter, with a complete framework on some of his thought leadership around how do you take back control of your life. And it's been making a difference for me inside this holiday season, where sometimes we just want to isolate ourselves and we're dealing with some dark shit, right? We don't feel like doing it. Maybe we're feeling like we're letting someone down, our loved ones down, whatever. This framework has been something that I've leaned on over the past few weeks since I've left Vegas. So, Chris, back over to you, man. Just thanks for joining the show. Feel free to just fill the gaps inside that introduction, brother.
Oh yeah, man. 27 years. It sounds like a lot. I look back, it doesn't feel like a lot. People are like, are you so glad that you're done now? And I'm like, no, I'm not done. I actually am going to the next higher level of service, right? I found a purpose. And that was part of why I retired after 27 years. I could have kept going. I was having such a good time doing the things I was doing. And I lived the dream, man. I did everything I ever could have wanted to do and more. And of course that came with challenges, right? Struggles, all those things. I've seen them all, man. I've lost good friends in combat. I have lost kids. I have achieved goals that I was told weren't achievable, and I've been able to figure all that out. And that's what I did. You know, I actually hit a dark patch, and we all do, right? You're either in a struggle, you got one coming for you, or you just got out of one. And there's two kinds of struggles. There's the one that you're like, that's on you right now, like the 8 feet of snow I got outside my door right now. That's or, crazy. You know, there's also the struggle that whatever it is, that past trauma, that past experience that maybe you're still trying to figure out how to cope with, right? And a lot of us are battling with that every day. And for me, when I hit that, I was able to use that acquisition acumen and my aviation, all the training and education that I had in that, and I put all those life skills together. And that's why I created that, you know, You Matter. And some of the guys like, I hate that term matter. It's been ruined because everybody mattered in the last couple of years. And I'm like, well, hold on. First of all, everybody matters because every single one of us is a miracle. There's no duplicates, even if you're a twin, right? And everybody's got something to contribute. And matter, how I came up with that is matter is an acronym that we use in aviation when the wings are on fire and the engines are about to fall off, we're in an emergency, things are going bad. It's what we use to stay calm. And so all I did was adapt that acronym to life, right? Maintain control, analyze the situation. What are the facts to the situation? Nothing else. Don't get wrapped up around the emotions. Take immediate action. Well, that's where I recommend people contacting their confidants, or what I call lifeguards, and then refer to a plan or a checklist. Well, there is no checklist for struggle. So that's what I built. You pull this out of your pocket, you refer to it, and you go back. And then I have a whole mastermind system that teaches you how to prepare for those struggles and identify the bad habits you want to break and the good ones you want to make, but you share them with confidants.
Yeah, no, this is awesome, brother. I appreciate you thinking through this and repurposing this from all the bullshit you had to experience throughout your life. So thanks for doing most of the cognitive work to develop this, to make it Barney style for the rest of us who are still figuring out how to deal with some of these struggles, man, that seem like they're bigger than what we're able to conquer, right? So yeah, man, I think I said this offline one time to you, man, in a previous conversation, but it's like the cool version of cognitive behavioral therapy, right? Like none of us like to kind of go to a therapist and feel like we're fucking broken, right? It just fucking sucks. But man, if you can kind of leverage this framework to kind of think around and then surround yourself, like you said, confidants that kind of encourage you and have focus on your strengths, man, that's when you keep moving in life. So brother, I want to kind of shift gears, and thanks for just kind of diving and filling some gaps inside your bio. But I want to kind of shift gears on storytelling, man, right? One of your big war cries as a colonel, right? Retired colonel, is how do you storytell from a place of not looking weak, right? But from a place of strength, right? That kind of influences and people, right? So kind of unpackage that for us.
Yeah.
We'll be there. Yeah.
That's really powerful, right? Because even if you, like, I tell people all the time, how many confidants do you have? And when you stop and think about that, are they connected to each other or just to you? And that's the trick. You figure out how to do that. And that's what I teach you how to do that. The next thing you need to do is, okay, now that I got my friends together, what do I do? Well, let's tell that story. And when you can learn to tell that story with the people you trust the most, then you can start to share that story with other people. And what we, especially as vets, we're guilty, right? Because weakness is something that none of us want to be labeled as. And we think that being vulnerable is being weak, but it's not. It's actually being strong. It's just how you do it that's important, right? You got to start with the mindset of what has life done for me, not what is life doing to me. Where's the silver linings here? How can I capture something from this, a lesson learned, whatever it might be, to move forward? So you got to have that framework in your head when you go to begin to start to tell your story, right? And so we talked earlier, there's two struggles, right? The one you're going through right now and the one before. Whatever that one before is, the one that's still deep inside you that you're coping with, that's the story that you can tell right now. I have a simple framework for it. I call it Acre. It's an acronym, ACRE. When you go to tell your story, the first thing you want to do is be authentic. Just be yourself, be genuine. Don't get over emotional, right? And we're military people, aren't going to do that anyway, but the point is, just be authentic. Don't be afraid to be who you are. You're already who you are anyway. It's just that you're the last person you're ever going to know. Everybody else knows more about you than you do in many regards. They know your idiosyncrasies, right? So be authentic. The C is for confrontation or conviction, right? You need to show that you confronted a pain point without being emotional about it. That's all you got to do. Hey, here's this crazy thing that happened to me. Check this out. Here's this, here's some techniques, right? So show the confrontation point. R is revelation. Hey, what did you learn? What was the learning point? What was the takeaway from that? What's the surprise catch? What's something that could benefit others, right? And then the last part is the evolution, the paradigm shift. How did I grow after going through that traumatic or even maybe a crazy goal that was just harder than I thought it was going to be? What did I gain from that I can impart on others so that they don't have to go down that same jagged path that I went down? When you can tell your story following that framework, especially the past story, right, then you can be your authentic self. And here is the power in it. When you are your authentic self telling that story, what happens is you begin to heal. Because, oh, by the way, whatever you think you're keeping to yourself, that trauma, whatever it might be, that pain, it's going to come out in some other fashion. You can't actually keep, when I was a kid growing up, we heard about gun cleaning accidents and hunting accidents all the time. Now, it's not something to laugh at, but what I'm laughing at is that you don't hear about that now because we've at least had the courage to demonstrate some vulnerability as a society to address the word suicide, right? And my approach is to go to the left of that because at the end of the day, when you look at the suicide, that's not a problem. People, whoa, Switch, what are you saying? It's a huge problem, 22 a day. Yes, concur. But what I'm trying to tell you is that that's people's solutions to the problems that they couldn't solve. And they're very emotional. And 40% of the people that make that decision act on it within 5 minutes. That means they have to be their own hero, right?
Wow.
So
did not know it was that fast.
Yeah, well, so that's the intent behind this. It's just to give them a memory jogger when they're in that, not if, when a human being gets in that moment, they've got a little check. I don't know what to do. Oh, yeah, I got that thing. I'm going to read it, right? But all those problems, whatever they are, they didn't happen just in that moment. They were culminating long before that. And so my system is taking you on a walk up the river instead of trying to swim up the river. Let's figure out what those things are together. I just guide you. It's, me and you just like this talking. So it's all private. You're not sharing any information with me. And you can figure out how to develop your stories in a way that you can tell. And two things happen. When you tell your story, especially with your confidants, actually three things happen. The first one is you begin to heal. It's like peeling the layers of an onion, right? And after a while, the onion's gone. It's not really that pain or that thing is gone. It's that you grew so much more around it by being able to share and tell. Because when you can tell that story to others in a way that helps them, now you're also helping them and you're serving others. And by doing so, you're healing yourself. That is what makes it a warrior's strength, not a warrior's weakness. You're not just helping yourself, you're helping others. And that's what we do. And the most powerful part is when you gather your confidants together, the people you really trust, and you share a vulnerability with them, they're never, I'm telling you, I would love to hear one example, but I've yet to hear one in the time that I've been doing this. They're never going to say, what? Suck it up, you pansy. They don't. Instead, you know what happens? They share a vulnerability too. Why? Because they see their friend hurting. They see their friend in a moment of weakness, not being weak, but in a moment where life is dominating. and they want to help them be stronger.
Hmm.
So when you demonstrate that vulnerability, they in turn will reciprocate, and together the whole group goes stronger and it becomes impenetrable. And when you have those confidants, here's a funny statistic. If you take the number 100%, when you talk about enduring a struggle, whether that's a goal or just a life struggle, 40% of people can endure that struggle just based on the number and quality of confidants they have. 40%. Add 30 more percent to that just based on your belief that you can get through that struggle and belief in faith, higher power, whatever it might be that helps keep you going. That's 70%. The last 30%, guess where that is? That is in professional psychological help is 15%, and professional psychological medications is the other 15%. And where do you think our society spends most of their time? In that little 30%.
Yeah.
And get some confidence, tell your story, believe you can get through it. You got a 70% chance of getting through it.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. And one thing that, came up to me when you were explaining this stuff too, is sometimes it's just hard. Sometimes you're in the midst of this shit, right? The mix of the muck, the suck, and it's hard to even start talking about, how you overcame it, the end result, like all that stuff. I know that you help kind of frame it up, but I mean, can you see how this framework, you could just talk this out through a confidant? Maybe you're still stuck in it, but you're just like, hey man, this is kind of the framework, right? And this is what I need help thinking through, and using your confidants to kind of do that framework, right? Because sometimes we're not all the way through the problem or the struggle or the suck. And I know for myself, having some pretty crazy depression when I first got out of the Marine Corps back in 2012 and leading up to 2014, man, a lot of this stuff, I didn't even know where to start, you know what I mean? As far as communication. So at least there's a framework to kind of like start adding components to, and, some content inside of as far as thoughts, and to start communicating. But what are some of your ideas around, hey, maybe this veteran that's listening to this is kind of, has a confidant, right? Maybe it's their spouse, maybe it's their best friend, and they're just kind of stuck in the sauce. And maybe they're listening to this and they're just like, man, well, I don't even got the entire framework thought out. What would be what would be a golden grenade you would provide to help them kind of use a confidant or someone to help think through that framework so they can powerfully tell that story when they're in the midst of it?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Well, so first of all, what I'll tell you is there's a guy out there named Robin Dunbar, been doing a lot of research on friendships and all those things. And he says, look, 5 is the most you can manage. I always recommend to people to have 5 because life happens. Friends fall out, friends change, things happen. If you just have 1, that's great. The average is around 2.2 to 2.6. I don't know how you have a half a person, but that's what the average comes down to.
There's a midget behind the curtain.
But you want to get at least 3 because that's where you can just bounce your best ideas off of people. And it's really important to understand what a confidant is and what a confidant isn't, right? It could be a mentor. It could be a friend that you just got disconnected from because you're in the military and you move every 3 years. But today with things like Marco Polo and technology and other apps, you can connect to them, right? You can reconnect. That's the single most important piece of this. As far as the storytelling piece, right? And a tool to help. Like, okay, great. What do I say? Well, that's what I do is I walk you down this path of helping you just think about things and figure out how to frame things. And one of those tools I have, I call it the gas gauge. It's just a wellness check, but it stands for the Get Awesome scale. Cause that's my slogan. Look, get awesome, stay awesome. Why? Because getting awesome is the easy part. Staying awesome, that's the daily grind. And you're just going to move the needle a little bit. But in this gauge, this wellness check, I basically teach you to score how you feel about 7 areas of your life, right? Your purpose, the place you live, the people in your life, your provision, all things, your income, all things about physical health, from sleep to nutrition to whatever, all things psychological health, which include your spiritual health, and all things about your possessions and your pastimes, your fun, right? You tally all that up, divide by 7. What that does is it gives you a numerical context to describe your emotions without having to describe a single emotion. I can be like,
that weeds out. So that weeds out like the emotional intelligence factor, right? Like you've heard about the emotional wheel and stuff like that. And sometimes we don't want to waste, find time to, well, let me go through anger and see all the different words for that. This kind of has it be broad so people at least can categorize where you want to be at. I think that's brilliant, brother. And, so you're talking about just a green up like thing. Like in the Marine Corps, we had a green up type thing when we were on humps and on patrols and stuff like that. So, hey, man, green up. I think one of the categories, man, I've been out for over 12 years now, man. It's been a long time. So please don't test me, Marines, but it's just like one of them was like resources. Is my resources replenished? Do I got water? Do I got ammo? Stuff like that. And, I love hearing guys like yourself be able to repurpose different frameworks and philosophies that we use in the military where it just clicks, man. And we can kind of relate to it a lot quicker. So we can just keep moving in the trenches of life, man. Love it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, right? Like right now, man, there are 50,000 books and websites and places you can go, and you can ask a friend, hey, what should I do about this? Here's a website, go here. Well, that's great. But you get to the website, you're still stuck trying to figure it out yourself. Like, okay, now what do I do that I'm here? So I do it backwards. Instead, I kind of show you specific critical questions to think about, answer, and then whatever those answers are, you build on that. So like this tool that I just showed you, that's the tool that you end up using to build your goals and figure out how you want to change, but also communicate to your lifeguards. You can be like, guys, I can be like, Chris, today, dude, I just shared this with you. I'm at a 76. You're like, dude, 76. Last time we talked, you were at 85. What's going on? And the answer could be, I don't feel like talking about it, but at least you know something's going on and you know to reach out and be a friend, right? A little bit more than you have been because something's going on. Or it could be simple. Hey, dude, well, I live here in South Dakota and I just got friggin' 10 foot of snow outside my door. And so my place is taking a huge digger because I'm spending a lot of time out there. I didn't plan for that. So anyway, that's kind of the basics of that, dude.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And man, I feel sorry for that 7 feet, 8 feet snow down here in Texas. We got the damn tornadoes, man. They just don't want to stay back in the springtime, right, man? They want to keep going after us in this tornado valley. But yeah, man, I mean, you talked about Marco Polo. That's an incredible tool. What are some other, is that like the main tool that you recommend for kind of being able to stay connected with your battle buddies and stuff like that, your confidants, your lifeguards? Are there any other tools that you recommend for kind of, bringing everyone together per se? Yeah.
So I have basically three, one simple rule about confidants, and then three ways to use it. Confidants, you got to have someone in close physical proximity to where you live, and someone in close emotional proximity to who you are. Like that person that you call and you get off the phone, and even though you were upbeat and talking great, they were like, something was just not right. Mm-hmm. They know how to connect to that other one that's close to you if they're not the same person. As far as tools, you can really use any kind of social media format. You can do Zoom, you can, all those things. And group text, I absolutely recommend making sure everybody has everybody's phone numbers and that you group text them. But what I like about Marco Polo is it's more authentic than a text, right? And it's the friends you need when you need them and when they need you. But you don't have to coordinate. It's easier, right, than trying to coordinate a Zoom call. It's just there. You're leaving a video message. Marco Polo promises to never sell your stuff, never push ads on you, and never push an algorithm on you. It's just you having a private contact. They even have a bill of rights that they say that with, which is incredible. That's why I advocate for that app, because I can talk to anybody across the planet at any time. And in fact, there's a group I'm in called We and Us. And these are military vets, but also just a bunch of civilian guys. And they have some simple rules, but they've got a group of 49 men right now that are sharing vulnerabilities that never really knew each other. They might have clumps of friends within there. And it's amazing how these guys are lifting each other up. 49 dudes. Incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's not easy to do, man. That's not easy to do. And even for you ambitious vets who are listening to this that are military spouses and female veterans, I mean, this goes for you as well. This goes for you as well, because you've been ingrained to kind of toughen it up, buttercup, depending on what branch of service, geographical location you're living in right now, and just find different ways to use these same frameworks as well. So, Chris, before we kind of sum this up and kind of give the ambitious vet a call to action to go visit your website to kind of dive more into the trenches with you, what would be that framework one last time, a high level summary on that framework you just shared?
For telling the story or overall? You're just talking about first, you got to identify your lifeguards, put them together, find the courage to tell your story. Use the acronym Acre, right? Even if it's the one you're going through right now, as long as you're focusing on the facts, it'll help. The emotions are going to happen, right? But you're just trying to be authentic. You're just trying to tell your friends, this is what's going on. You want to talk about the pain points, confront them, right? So ACR, revelation, right? What can I learn from this, or what did I learn from this? And then evolution, like, okay, how can I get through this? The hardest part is when your pain point is one where you can't fight and you can't flight and you're stuck there frozen. And the number one thing you can do, and why your confidants are so important, is they're the ones that are going to help you get through that. That's that 40% I talked about. And then the last thing is just don't ever forget that you matter, right? That acronym: maintain control, analyze situation, take the appropriate action, and refer to your plan. Well, you got to build a plan, and you can build a plan for struggles, but we don't. But I'll teach you how.
Oh, that's great, brother. Thanks for bringing it up. I was mostly talking about the Acre thing, but man, you really summed it up well. So I appreciate that. And brother, where can the ambitious vet that's listening to this right now go to find out more about you?
Wow. They can go to find about me at chrisroness.com. Just CHRISRONESS.com. Yep.
And there they can find some bonuses from the Ronesses.
That's right. You can put this Johnny out right now in full page, or make it a business card if you want. There's some free resources there for vets. And there's a free 30-minute video also that will talk about this and more, because we need it, especially this time of year. And dude, you're plugged to spouses, by the way. If it wasn't for my spouse, I would have never heard of Marco Polo. Mm. Ladies are way better at staying connected than we men are. We can learn a lot from them.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast or something recently. It talked about how women have, and this is a complete sidebar, brother, but this is just kind of on the show, on the fly. But how women have more emotional intelligence than us, because from the young age, man, men are focusing on winning, like end results and competition, and women are on the playground talking about dolls and stuff. And I was like, holy shit, like that's totally true. So us men, we're learning how to communicate later. And oh God, it's just crazy, man. But Ambitious Vet, I listened. I actually have this You Matter card right in front of me. I have my entire 5 list of lifeguards right here. Depending on when you're listening to this episode, it's December 15th, 2022. We will actually be doing a live masterclass next week, December 20th, 2022. I believe that is at 3:30 Central Time. But I'll have that link inside the show notes below. So make sure that if you're listening to this in the next few days before December 20th, 2022, to go and register, get this real work, get this real live time with Chris Roness, and start mastering these frameworks and put them into practical practice inside of your life. Chris, man, any other save rounds for you, brother?
No, man, I just, throw down the gauntlet first and foremost, thanks to all the spouses out there, because if it wasn't for you, none of us military folks doing what we can do, and the veterans doing what we could do it without them. Right now, my wife is up there with 4 kids, feeding them lunch, getting them in naps and all those things, so you and I can have this time to help our service members and our vets grow. And with that, I'll just throw down the gauntlet, man. Chris, get awesome and stay awesome.
Will do, brother. Thanks for joining the show, man.
The Ambitious Vet is available on all popular podcast platforms. Go to vettrainingcoaching.com to subscribe, rate, and share with fellow vets.
Ambitious Vet, whether you're that last-minute Christmas shopper or someone just looking to help support the good old American dream, I invite you to come take advantage of some great discounts inside of our exclusive, brand new, the Ambitious Vet Network Holiday Gift Guide for 2022. We got a list of veteran-owned, 100% American-made, or organizations that just donate a lot of money as far as profits to military organizations. So a great list of impactful companies. We kept it short, simple, and quality versus quantity. Definitely big value of ours, but it's anywhere from badass grill seasonings to fuel for warriors. I would love for you to just take a minute, review it at ambitiousvetnetwork.com/gift guide 2022. Again, that's ambitiousvetnetwork.com/gift guide 2022. Also, the link will be in the show notes below. But let's help boost the American economy while also supporting great causes together. If you're listening to this before Christmas of 2022, I just hope that you and your family have a great holiday season. If it's past Christmas 2022, hell, go out and have a great night, good day, good morning, wherever you're at in the world. Appreciate you being a listener. If you haven't already, go rate, review, and please share this with your network. Without you sharing this and sharing value that's being brought to you, we're not making a difference for anybody. So please, if this episode made a big difference for you, please go out there and share with your network. And Ambitious Vet, until next time, hold the vision and trust the process. Take care.